Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel SparkScholar. So in today's video we'll be discussing the types of what academic research. Types of research paper explained. So what we are going to be doing is that we will try to make everything easier for both masters and PhD students. If you are writing a research paper without clearly knowing its type, you might be setting up yourself just for rejection. Because a lot of persons, you tend to write paper, you don't even know the type of paper you want to write, then definitely there's high possibility that that paper is going to be rejected because you may not be able to know how to structure it well. Because the right research in the wrong format often get rejected. Now let's talk more about it. Let me ask you a simple but very important question. Do you actually know what type of research paper you are writing? Most PhD students confidently say yes, but when you look at journal decisions, you begin to see a different reality. Many papers are not rejected because the research is weak. They are rejected because the paper does not match what the journal expects. The structure is strong, the focus is unclear, the contribution does not align with the paper type, and this is where many researchers lose valuable time because they are solving the wrong problem. Today, we are going to fix that. In this video, I will walk you through the main types of research papers in a very simple and practical way. No complex theory at all, no confusion, just clear understanding so you can choose the right format for your work. So, as you can see from our list, we have different types of research papers. We have different types. We have okay, as you can see here, there are many, so I will be explaining each and every one of them, right from what the research paper, which is what original research, down to what technical notes. So we'll be taking them one by one. So let's start with what original research. The original research paper, which is what the most common type. Let's start with the most common type of research paper, the original research paper. This is what most PhD students write, especially when turning their thesis chapters into publication. At its core, an original research paper is about one thing, contributing something new. This could be new data, a new experiment, a new model, or new findings that were not previously known. So the key question you must always ask yourself is this: what new knowledge does my study add? If your work answers that question clearly, then you are likely working with an original research paper. But here is where many students make mistakes. They focus too much on describing what they did and not enough on what is new about it. Journals are not just interested in activity, they are interested in contribution. A strong original research paper must clearly show how your work advances the field, even if the contribution is small. The second on our list is what review paper, understanding the big picture. Now let's move to something different. A review paper, unlike original research, a review paper does not generate new data. Instead, it studies what already exists. But this is where many people misunderstand the purpose. A review paper is not just a summary of articles, it is an analysis. It compares studies, it identifies patterns, it highlights what researchers agree on and where they disagree. Most importantly, it reveals gaps, and those gaps often become future research opportunities. This is why review papers are so powerful. They help shape the direction of a field, and in many cases, they receive a high number of citations because other researchers rely on them to understand the landscape. The next is what systematic review, structured and transparent. Now imagine taking a review paper and making it more structured, more controlled and more transparent. That is what a systematic review does. In a systematic review, nothing is random. You do not just pick papers based on convenience. You define exactly where you will search, what keywords you will use, and which studies you will include or exclude. Every step is planned and documented. Why does this matter? Because it reduces bias. Anyone reading your paper can follow your process and understand exactly how you arrive at your conclusion. This makes the systematic review highly trusted, especially in fields like health and social sciences, where evidence must be reliable. The next on the list is meta-analysis, when data speaks. Now let's go even deeper. A meta-analysis takes things one step further. Instead of just reviewing studies, it combines their numerical results. It uses statistical method to calculate an overall effect. So instead of asking, what do studies say? A meta-analysis asks, what does the data collectively prove? This is very powerful because it allows researchers to draw stronger conclusions from multiple studies rather than rely on one. But it also comes with responsibility. You need strong statistical understanding, you need high quality studies, and you need to be careful with how data is combined. When done correctly, meta-analysis can influence policy, decisions, and real-world practices. Then the next on the list is survey mapping or survey paper, mapping the field. Now let's shift perspective. A survey paper is not about going deep into one problem. It's about looking at the entire field. Think of it as a map. It organizes existing method, compares different approaches, and explains how research in that area has evolved. This is especially common in fast-growing fields like artificial intelligence, which is AI, computer science. Why is this useful? Because new researchers need direction. They need to understand what already exists before they can contribute something new. A well-written survey paper becomes a guide for others, and that makes it very valuable. Then we have the next on our list, which is what? A case study, applied research, real world focus. Sometimes research is not about general theories. Sometimes it is about understanding one specific situation in depth. This is where case studies come in. A case study focuses on a single example. It could be an organization, a simple project, or a real life problem. The goal is not to generalize to everyone. The goal is to deeply understand what is happening and why this type of research is very common in business, the education, and applied fields, and it is especially useful when experiments are not possible. Then we have the next is what? Methodology paper or a technical method. Now let's talk about a different kind of contribution, not result but method. A methodology paper introduces a new way of doing something. It could be a new algorithm, a framework, or a research technique. Here the focus is not just on what you discovered, it is how you approach the problem. The innovation lies in the method itself. Even if the results are not groundbreaking, a strong method can still make a significant contribution. Now we are done with methodology paper. The next is what? A conference paper. A conference paper is still very common to many researchers, although a lot of persons don't use to what? Write conference paper nor attend conferences. So we'll be talking about the conference paper now. Preliminary what research. Now let's talk about speed and visibility. Conference papers are usually shorter and more focused. They present early stage research or initial findings. They are not always complete, and that is okay. The goal is to share ideas, receive feedback, and improve your work. Conferences move faster than journals. They help you test your ideas in front of an audience. And many strong journals papers usually actually begin as what? Conference paper. Then the next is what? Short communication, brief research, quick but very important. Sometimes you discover something important, but the work is not large enough for a full paper, or maybe the findings are time sensitive. This is where short communications are useful. They are brief, focused, and direct. They allow you to share important insight quickly, and in some cases, these short papers can have a big impact. Yes, at times they can have a big impact even when they are what? Very short. Then the next is what? Technical notes. Finally, we have technical notes. These are very focused papers. They do not try to solve big problems. Instead, they improve something that already exists. It could be a small optimization, a correction, or a better way of doing a known method. The scope is narrow, but the value is practical. And for many researchers, this small improvement can extremely what be helpful. Understanding research paper type is not just a small detail, it is a core academic skill because the moment you choose the wrong type, everything else becomes harder. Your structure becomes unclear, your contribution becomes what confusing, and your chances of acceptance drop. So before you start writing your next paper, pause for a moment, ask yourself a simple question: what kind of contribution am I making? Because when you because when you match your research with the right paper type, everything becomes clearer and your work finally gets the recognition it deserves. So, if this video helps you understand the research papers better, then make sure you like this video, comment paper type so I know you are learning, and subscribe to SparkScholar for more clear and practical research tips. SparkScholar, from idea to paper. Bye for now and have a nice day.